Hello, this is Edith Newmeyer, and I'm the author of the book, The Mystery of Adam. Well, I want to do a separate video for my Facebook channel on Bathsheba, which was, of course, one of David's wives. And I know I have read several articles by some really good scholars. And however, they assumed that Bathsheba was an innocent lamb, like the prophet Nathan made it look in front of David. However, I'm basing my information on 1 King 1:17 through 25, in which it looks like there was a conspiracy going on. Now, that was at the end of David's life, and the problem of finding the successor of David. David being very, very, very old and was very sickly, and it seems like he made no provision to tell anybody that Solomon was supposed to be his follower or follow him as heir. And one of his sons was trying to take over the throne, which is, understandable, because David was not capable anymore and somebody had to run, the kingdom, really. But it looks like in 1 King 1:17 to 25 that there was something going on which Nathan the prophet knew about, because he came to Bathsheba when the son of David wanted to take the throne and said, "Hey, didn't David tell you or promise you or even swear to you that Solomon would become king?" And that's exactly what he says. Hey, did not David say it? And actually, he didn't even say that. He said, if you're not doing something, really basically what he says, if you're not doing something, you may be killed and Solomon may be killed as well. Okay? And that's exactly what he said. So, therefore, he said, didn't David tell you at any time that, or swore to you that that Solomon was supposed to be king? And so he actually sent her before David. He sent her before David and told her to go before David and let him know that he supposedly did swear to her that Solomon would become king. And he even said, well, I'm going to come in there and I will be your witness. Now, we don't hear anything about that prior to this incident, which was late in his life. Now, there's some incident that may have caused, such a thing, that maybe David swore to her that he's going to be the next king. Maybe, but we only can assume. And that was in 2 Samuel 12:24, when David, after Bathsheba lost her first son, was comforted by David. And he even went into her, and she conceived again, and she had a son, and they named him Solomon. That's the only thing we hear. But nothing is said that the Solomon is supposed to be the heir. Okay? Nothing is said. So that was actually the first that we hear that this even happened. Now my question is, was did this incident really happen? Or did Nathan scare Bathsheba so bad, so she was really an innocent woman, that she actually believed it, that happened? Okay, well, by that time, David was probably senile. And so to make the thing a little more traumatic, Nathan even told in this incident, hey, if you don't do something about this, then I fear for the life of Bathsheba and Solomon. Now, Solomon at the time, I think, was very young. I think he may have been 18, no, maybe even 12. So he was very, very young at that time. Maybe 18. I don't quite know when, how old David was when Solomon was born. But he was quite young, okay? So it would have been, possible that if this other son of David would have become king, that he may have killed Bathsheba and the son, Solomon, because of what happened, okay? Because, they committed adultery together. So here we get to this adultery thing. Was Bathsheba really raped? Did she have a choice in this relationship with David? Again, see, when I look at 2 Samuel 12:24, yeah, I think 24, when David comforts Bathsheba, I don't see that they were enemies. In the opposite, David was comforting her. Looks like he really loved her, cared for her. And Bathsheba was not against David doing that. And so she seemed to be very happy that David comforted her and, went and had another baby with her. She didn't care too much. They seemed to be pretty content and wonderful with each other. So, again, I don't understand, I don't believe that Bathsheba was really that innocent, or that she didn't really know what was going on. And maybe Bathsheba was used, but I also believe that what happened to David and Bathsheba was really somebody's plan. And I'm talking about her grandfather, Ahithophel, okay, who was the wisest man in the court of David, or he was King David's wisest man, okay? And he was the one who may have had an interest in this relationship, because he is the one who had a vision, or he saw in astrology, that someday he is going to be the king of Israel. And so he manipulated many things to get that plan, or he made a big plan so this would come to pass. So with this story, or this planning, this intrigue with David and Bathsheba may have actually been planned by her grandfather. Okay, so now it's the question, if he was the wisest man, would he not have been very easily able to say, oh, David, talk him into for David to marry Bathsheba. Yeah, he probably could have wheeled and deal something too. But what was the advantage of David committing adultery with Bathsheba? Now, was David set up for that? Or did that just happen accidentally by itself? Well, again, even there, I think it was set up. I think David was set up by Bathsheba's grandfather, Ahithophel, because he was a very sinister and very, I don't want to say evil, but maybe he was evil, evil man. He even, later on, after this incident with Bathsheba and David, after David has already married Bathsheba, he helped one of David's sons, and I'm just thinking, what is the name? Something with A. One of David's sons, he helped him to revolt, and even started a revolt, okay, against David. He even went as far, Ahithophel went as far as advising the son to rape 10 of David's concubines. Okay? So, yeah, was this Ahithophel bad? Yes, he was. He definitely was. Her grandfather was pretty bad. So, but at that time, of course, Bathsheba was already married to David. Okay, so she was already the wife of David. And it looks like David really liked her, of course. And not just, I don't think it was just, oh, she was looking good, but I think he really did care, care about her. And I don't know, maybe, I don't know about Bathsheba. I mean, it looks like she was not so against becoming the wife of David. Hey, there were advantages, right? What if somebody tells you, hey, you can become the wife of the king, and your son is going to be the ruler, the next ruler, of the kingdom. You're going to be queen mother. Okay? Or not, is it queen mother? Yeah, the mother of the queen. I mean, no, the mother of the king. And I think that's still called queen mother. So, if I have that option, that may be pretty, tempting. Very tempting, I guess. So maybe that is exactly what Bathsheba was going by. Okay, that was her reward. That's why she may have gone along with all this. So again, why did David have to commit adultery? Well, because when David committed adultery, he had a lot of guilt on himself. Okay? He had something, number one, he had to hide at first. Number two, he could really be used, that guilt could have been used to make him do things that he usually wouldn't do. Like, for instance, choose Solomon. Yes, it's very likely that Bathsheba, was crying, well, you raped me and you made me do this, and look what you done to me, and David feeling sorry for her, saying, okay, you know what, I'll promise you that your son, the next son, Solomon, will be king. I'll promise you. Okay, you know what, I understand. But all along, she really went along. She knew exactly what she was doing. And it was very tempting for her, for her son to eventually be on the throne. Which exactly, in a sense, what her grandfather saw. Now, I believe that these things Bathsheba heard from her father and her grandfather. Okay, these things that the grandfather, saw himself on the throne as king. And so we see that he started wheeling and dealing to get to that point. So, but whatever happened, after David's son Absalom, that was him, Absalom, tried to take over the throne. When that failed, Ahithophel, because he was advising him falsely, killed himself. Okay. Now we don't hear that his son was kicked out from the high soldiers, the 30 highest men of David. We don't hear that. So, and we don't hear anything about Bathsheba. Nobody blamed her that this happened. But again, at that point, David also got kind of old when that happened. He was probably getting pretty old at that time. So, I don't know. We don't hear very, very much, about all these conspiracies. We don't hear that. Now, why would we hear that? Of course, in the Bible. I mean, we have to piece things together, like reading 1 King 1, 17 through 25, and thinking, what went wrong here? Okay? Or knowing that David committed adultery with Bathsheba, and we're thinking, how did this happen? Okay? What went wrong here? Of course, many people, even egalitarians, believe that it was all David's fault. Oh, David. Okay, David made that poor woman have sex with him. He just forced her into the sex, and she had absolutely no way to refuse him, even though, you know what? In a temple, I mean, in a palace, a king's palace, I don't think there is too much room to hide things. I cannot see that. Okay, I think pretty soon everybody knew about it. Just like this rape of Absalom's sister. Okay, so King David's daughter was raped by her stepbrother. Okay, and she had a chance to let everybody know that she was raped, and she made a big fuss about it, and so did Absalom, and Absalom eventually even killed, who was the guy that, I don't remember his name now, but the stepbrother of Absalom, and I think it was Tamar. And David didn't do anything about it, and so eventually Absalom killed that stepbrother, okay, because of what he has done to his sister. So she screamed out. I mean, she let everybody know what her stepbrother did. Okay, why did Bathsheba hide it? And she did. She didn't say, "Hey, I was raped. I don't have anything to do with this king," right? And when we all say, "Oh, he was the king," you can't refuse the king. I don't believe so. That's why I believe more likely that maybe David was set up. And in a sense, I think somebody made it pretty attractive to Bathsheba to go along with this plan. Okay? So I wanted to talk about this today because I really think this is a really interesting story. What I want you to do is I want you to read 1 Kings 1, 17 through 25, and then 2 Samuel 12, 24, because that's where Bathsheba was comforted by David. And And just also read all the other things, Again, Bathsheba's grandfather, he was in the temple. I mean, not temple. He was in the palace of David, okay, all the time. He was a regular in the palace of David. And so it was very easy for him to plan all these things. So, his granddaughter would, help David commit adultery. And I'm not protecting David at all. But I also don't think that Bathsheba was innocent. Okay? You can also look at, for instance, Nathan, that prophet Nathan. That prophet Nathan is very, very strange person. He doesn't look to me like he is a very godly man at all. And I don't know why he was called prophet. Just because God spoke to him at one time. But he is a very strange person who worked on this conspiracy to bring Solomon or to make King Solomon or to make Solomon king. Okay, he was very instrumental in supporting that King Solomon became king. Now, I don't hear anywhere that either David or this prophet Nathan even prayed to God to find out who is going to be the next king. Never heard anything like that, okay? We know that Samuel was sent to Saul and to David to anoint him because God told Samuel, right? We don't see that this time. We don't ever see that again after David, that God sent anybody, okay, any prophet or anybody, to have the next king chosen, anointed. Now, we could say that Nathan was doing that, but Nathan, it doesn't show that Nathan got a call from God that Solomon was the next king. It looked more like he took that on his own. And again, I don't know, if he actually worked with Ahithophel. Don't know. Okay, don't know that. Don't know how far the father of Bathsheba was involved in all this. This is all very, very intriguing and very mysterious. And of course, it's not set in the Bible. But it has really major consequences. So I want to finish today because I wanted to just talk a little bit about this because I want to put this video maybe on my Facebook page because it is about a woman, okay? And again, I don't think that Bathsheba was that dumb, okay? I don't think she was that stupid that she was just a little bystander, a little lamb, innocent lamb, as not David, but the prophet Nathan described her as this little lamb, that somebody stole, and, traumatic. And I may want to we'll look that up, where he actually came to David and said, oh, what did you do? You took that poor little woman and, you committed adultery with that poor little woman who was just so innocent. I just don't believe that. Okay, maybe she was used, but she wasn't that innocent. Anyways, I'm finishing up. And think about this and read, the Bible verses, and think about it yourself and see what the Holy Spirit tells you.